Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. So today is a very auspicious day for us Gaudiya Vaishnavas, and there were two main topics to be discussed as per the time permits. But we will start with the appearance of Radharaman Dev in Vrindavan Dham, and then the glories of Param Gurudev or Srila Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Madhvendra Puri and Shrinivas Acharya, a foremost Gaudiya Acharya in our disciplic succession. And then, if time permits, we will go into the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj, which was a 2 day topic, but we'll see how it is scheduled. So I seek the blessings of all the senior Vaishnavas, Prabhupada disciples, and all the assembled Vaishnavas that whatever I speak will be pleasing to our Srila Prabhupada, all our Gaudiya Acharyas, and the audience. So I beg for your mercy that whatever words emanate are in line with our Gaudiya Parampara and for the pleasure of the Lordships. Hare Krishna. So everybody's heard of Radharaman, right? As a matter of fact, I would be surprised if somebody has not. So Radharaman Dev actually appeared in Vrindavan Dham in the year 1542. So almost 470, 480 years ago. And it appeared to one of the foremost our acharyas in the Gaudiya Parampara, Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami, who is also one of the 6 Goswamis. We have him there, sitting right next between Sanatana Goswami and actually next to Jiva Goswami. And here, whenever we think about the manifestations of the Supreme Lordships, we only find one thing in common is the love that the devotees have. Love is something that is cultivated and given to us. Praptasya kalyana gunarnavasya vande guruho sri charanaravindam. Prapta means to obtain, and that is obtained through the Guru Parampara. It is not something that will automatically manifest by our own efforts. His Divine Krishna Prabhupada always harped on this point that why we should fear God, we should love God. And this is the key point in the Gaudiya Vaishnavism. Although we find that in Sanatana Dharma, there are many who are followers or worshippers of Vishnu or Krishna, but the element of love is very rare, and that is found only in our Gaudiya Vaishnavas to the highest extent. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Ye yatha mam prapadyante, tam sa tathaiva bhajamiham. The way you worship me, I reciprocate accordingly. So, in this particular case, we find that Gopal Bhatta Goswami was such an ardent devotee, full of love for the Supreme Lord, and the Supreme Lord appeared to him. How did that happen? So, a little bit about Gopal Bhatta Goswami himself. Mahaprabhu, during his South Indian tour, he ended up in the Sri Ranga Kshetra, and he took darshan of Rangnathji, the temple. And at that time, one of the foremost Brahmanas in the temple was Sri Venkat Bhatt, the father of Gopal Bhatta Goswami, and the brother of Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur. Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur is also one of the most amazing personalities in our Gaudiya Vaishnavism, and he has composed so many wonderful esoteric books on Vrindavan, on Srimati Radharani's glories, like Radha Rasa Sudhanidhi, Vrindavan Mahima Amrit, and um, he was an associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So uh, when Mahaprabhu visited that area in Sri Rangasetra, 4 months he stayed because of the monsoon, the Chaturmas. Generally, it is the principle whenever the uh, sadhus are traveling, when it starts raining about 4 months, the Chaturmas, they stay wherever they have come to. We also find that in the case of Naradji, where the Brahmanas came and stayed there. And in his life, Naradji mentions that how himself and his mother served those Brahmins during the Chaturmas. So Mahaprabhu stayed at Venkat Bhatt's house at his request. And the little boy, Gopal Bhatta, he was very fond of Mahaprabhu and vice versa. And actually, when Mahaprabhu was about to leave after 4 months of the monsoon, when Gopal Bhatta Goswami started crying and says, "No, don't go. Or if you're going, please take me with you." That was his ardent request. And Mahaprabhu said, "The time will come. Right now, you are very young. You take care of your parents. And once they're gone, then you come to Vrindavan." So, like that, after Mahaprabhu's instructions and order, he finally ended up in Vrindavan. And Mahaprabhu was in Puri at that time. And when he was in Jagannath Puri, he personally got news that Gopal Bhatta Goswami has now arrived in Vrindavan Dham. And he personally sent his hoki. Hoki is that little seat, but sometimes pujari they sit on it and they decorate the deities if they're not on a very high platform. It's a sitting, uh, kind of a little stool. It's called a hoki in Bangla, in Bengali. And he gave, along with that, his own undergarment, kopin, and an upper garment. He gifted him, and his uttariya. Uttariya means the upper garment. And like this, he performed austerities in Sri Vrindavan Dham. Then one day, he went to take a pilgrimage to Nepal. And Nepal, there is a very famous river, and the only place where we can find the Shaligram Shilas. They all come from there. If anybody tells you otherwise, then it's not right. Sometimes when you go to holy places, they sell you in the name of Shilas, but they may not be the real ones. So the real authentic ones come from only one place, is the Gandaki River. And he was taking a bath there. And while taking a bath, he took his kamandal, his water pot, as we see all the sannyasis have a begging pot, or the Goswamis. And they use that for bathing, for drinking water, for even collecting alms. That is the austerity. They don't collect so many things. And while taking a bath, 12 shaligrams entered into his water pot. And then he very gently put them back, offering obeisances. Again, when he put the water pot inside, as if by automatic nature, they drifted back into his water pot. This happened a few times. So finally, he decided to keep those, thinking that that was the desire of the Supreme Lord. So he took the 12 shilas and tied him in his uttariya, upper garment, and then he finally came back to Vrindavan Dham. And then he started worshipping them. Now, absorbed actually in the worship, it so happened that it was Narsingha Chaturdasi. And during that night of that evening, he was thinking that, oh, absorbed in the form of Lord Nrsimhadev, oh my Lord, you are very, very merciful to your devotees and always fulfill their desires. Lord Nrsimhadev ki, yeah. I wish to serve you, he said, in a form having arms, legs, and a blissful smiling face. Please grant me that wish. And also, during those times, just a few days ago, one very wealthy person had come to Vrindavan Dham and he had offered silken cloth and jewels and nice paraphernalia to many, many Vrajvasis for their deities. And obviously, he also approached Gopal Bhatta Goswami because he was one of the foremost amongst the six Goswamis and says, please take this and accept it. And he was thinking, I don't have any deities. I don't have, how can I? But he said, please accept it. So he just to keep his respect, he accepted it. And at the same time, he prayed like this to Lord Nrsimhadev that please fulfill my desires. I have this paraphernalia, but I don't have a form, a deity. And that night, after he laid them to rest, the 12 shaligrams, next morning, which is today, uh, when he woke up, out of the 12, one, which is known as the Damodar Shila, a beautiful Shyamam Trivanga Lalitam Niyata Prakasham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Shyamam Trivanga Lalitam, beautiful three-band form, about 12 inches tall, appeared in his basket, along with the uh, 11 Shilas that he had laid to rest. And he was in ecstasy. Rup Goswami came, Sanatan Goswami came, Brajvasis came, and they saw this beautiful deity of Radharaman. And he appeared and in this fashion. And today also we find that Radharaman Dev is worshipped very opulently and very close to the Nidhivan in Vrindavan Dham. It is called the Radharaman Gera. Gera means area where Lord Radharaman resides. And they are very, very nice to our ISKCON devotees, very conducive and very welcoming. We find that there is a special warmth that they have always displayed to our ISKCON sannyasis and devotees whenever they come. And the descendants of Radharaman Saivites. So, one conception that some people have that they are the direct descendants of Gopal Bhatta Goswami. That is not true because Gopal Bhatta Goswami was never married. Okay. So this misconception has to be kind of, brought into this class. Actually, Radha Raman was served by Gopal Bhatta Goswami. And when Gopal Bhatta Goswami once had gone to Haridwar, he was very nicely served by a Brahmin. And that Brahmin, he actually, Gopal Bhatta Goswami blessed him with a child. And he said that if I get the son, I will certainly send you the son in your seva. That's what he promised. Uh, Anywhere else, it rings a bell in our Gaudiya Vaishnavism. Lord Nityananda, he was sent by Hadai Pandit when I think it was Lakshmi Pati Tirtha who came in and he says, who else? Lord Govardhan himself. When Pulatsya Rishi, he went to the Himalayas and asked the the king of the mountains, that uh, we don't have. I'm also. He came from Haridwar, Pulassirisi, and there is no mountains there. So he thought that we don't have a mountain, but I would like. And he had those mystical powers that he could become lighter than the lightest, heavier than the heaviest, and he could carry even a mountain. He said he to asked his father, eh, Himachal, I need your son. Can you give him in my service? And I would like to take him to Haridwar. So with a very heavy heart, uh, Himachal gives Govardhan. But Govardhan makes a condition that okay, I will go with you, but if you put me down wherever then I will not move. So, but by the will of Krishna, and especially Srimati Radharani, uh, when he was flying over Vraj, he was induced with the call of nature, and he put him down. And after that, he did not move. So he stayed there, and of course, he was cursed. Govardhan was cursed that every day you will be minimized by the size of a mustard seed. Another, who else can we think of? Huh? Ram and Lakshman were taken huh, by Dronacharya. Sorry, who? Vishwamitra, sorry. Thanks for the correction. Vishwamitra. And King Dashrath also with a heavy heart. He said, no, I can help you with fighting all those Rakshasas. I have a huge army. But he says, no, this is sufficient. Just give me. So in those days, uh, giving a sadhu whatever they wanted was of was very, very important, no matter how bad one felt. So similarly, uh, this Brahmin, after 10 years, a 10-year-old boy comes to Vrindavan and finds Gopal Bhatta Goswami. And he introduces himself that I am the son of such and such a Brahmana, and he promised me in your service. So uh, here I am. So then he accepted him, and he then later on gave him the service of Radharaman. So his name was Gopinath. His name was Gopinath Goswami. Now, he was also a brahmachari, but he had a brother known as Damodar Goswami. And later on, Damodar Goswami, of course, was a grihastha. He married, and then the service of Radharaman came uh, to Damodar Goswami. And today's descendants that we find in the Radharaman Parivar or the family are descendants of Damodar Goswami. The most prominent right now is Padmanabh Goswami in Vrindavan Dham, and his brother's son, very, very famous speaker, Pundrik Goswami. He's famous all over India and in many places in the world. Speaks very good Katha, Gaudiya Katha, and also on Ramayana. So that is Radharaman. Now, one more thing about Radharaman Dev I forgot to mention, that his beauty is so amazing that it is said that in our Gaudiya Vaishnavism, there is three different levels or processes that we follow. First is called Sambandha Gyan. Sambandha means relationship. We have to establish a relationship. Even within our material interactions, unless and until we establish a relationship, whatever it may be, fraternal, paternal, maternal, uh, a relationship actually brings intimacy and love. So this relationship that is known as the Sambandha Gyan, and the predominant deity is Madan Mohanji, and that manifests to Sanatana Goswami. And then we find that the next level is the process of actually attaining love of Godhead, which is the chanting, reading, hearing, etc., from the proper sources. And that mercy is received, believed to be received through Radha Govind Devji, the deities that were manifest to Rupa Goswami Pad. And then the last stage known as the Avidya. Uh, that is the level of prema. And that is granted by the mercy of Gopinath, Radha Gopinath, that manifests in Vrindavan to Madhu Pandit, one of our predominant acharyas in Vrindavan Dham. So, Madan Mohan ji, Govind Dev ji, and Gopinath ji. Now, in Radharaman, we find that the lotus face of Radharaman, known as Mukharvinda, is one takes darshan, is none other than Gopinath ji. If one takes darshan of just the lotus face, then the Vakshasthala and Kamar, meaning the chest and the waist, is Govind Dev ji. And the Charnarvinda or the lotus feet is Madan Mohanji. So if one takes darshan of Radharaman, one has automatically taken darshan of Madan Mohanji, Govind Devji, and Gopinathji. One more thing that I would like to mention, and this is kind of a subject of a higher matter. When we chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, uh, the word Ram is Radharaman. We find that explanations given in the on the Mahamantra by Jiva Goswami and also Rupa Goswami. Ranjeti Ramyati iti Rama. Now, in the beginning days, Prabhupada said, somebody said, okay, can we call Ram as Dashrath Nandan Ram? He said, yes, chant Ram. It's okay. Or Balram, that's also fine. But eventually, our highest consciousness, when we are chanting, and when we become extremely mature in our chanting, our consciousness also matures. We do not remain on the level of Bhagavad Gita. We transcend into Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is and other books of the Goswamis, which is the zenith or the crescendo of Gaudiya Vaishnavism, Krishna Prem in the Madhurya Rasa. So, depending on the consciousness of who's chanting, just to quickly touch on the Mahamantra, it is not that Mahamantra came into existence when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and Gaudiya Vaishnavism became more prominent. It always existed. There is a conversation between Lord Brahma and Narji in the Kali Shantarana Upanishad in some Satya Yuga. There was a conversation. And the Mahamantra basically has Hare or Hara, Krishna, and Rama. Now, depending on who's chanting it and what consciousness they have, it gives us the result. So there are so many who in India, since ancient times, they've been chanting the Mahamantra, but their consciousness is not of Golok or not of the Krishna of Golok. Now, the word Hara for them means Lakshmi Devi. Like Sri Sampradaya devotees, they chant the Mahamantra. Lakshmi Devi and her associates. And Krishna means the all-attractive Vaikuntanath, or the Lord of Vaikuntha, who is all attractive to them. So just for us, our child is most attracted to us. Like we say that, oh, my child is the best and the most beautiful in the whole world, right? Don't we say that in our personal experience? We find, right? So it is the consciousness of the person chanting the Mahamantra. So there, and then Ram for them also, it could be Dashrath Nandan because they are Sri Sampradayas, or Ram means one who gives pleasure to Lakshmi Devi, which is Narayana. So that's their consciousness. But what is our consciousness as Gaudiya Vaishnavas? Very important. Hardly people kind of touch on this. A lot of them maybe know about it, but they don't, because unless and until we have information, we cannot come to the platform of understanding and eventually to the platform of realization. Mahaprabhu came to give us Krishna Prem in Vraj, but what kind of Prem? There is many levels of Prem. We should not forget that, or we should at least know about it. Are we saying that the Prema of Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj is is not prema, or the prema of the friends of the coward boys of Krishna. They don't love Krishna, they do. But the prema of the milkmaids of Vrindavan, and the topmost one being Srimati Radharani, there is no comparison. And that is the reason why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came. Not to give us Sakhyaras, not to give us Vatsalyaras, he came to give us Madhuryaras. Hmm. Very, very important thing that we need to take home. And that is why that Ram in this Mahamantra is Radharaman. Specifically, it condenses when we chant it to that point. Actually, I don't have enough time. If I have to go into this, then I will have to go into Chaitanya Sistastakam and many commentaries of the Acharyas, and it may take at least about 20 sessions just on the Mahamantra with whatever little knowledge I may have. But what I was trying to say is our consciousness is Radharaman, one who sports with Srimati Radharani, in particular, one who gives immense pleasure to Srimati Radharani. That is the meaning of the word Radha Raman. And when we are chanting that, that's what all of Gaudiya Vaishnavas should be thinking about, meditating on each word when we chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So Nam Akari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis. That Nija means Mahaprabhu is saying this. Mahaprabhu is saying this means it is Krishna of Vrindavan speaking, not Krishna of Dwarka, not Krishna of Mathura. And Nija means like when somebody comes to our home, how do we introduce our family? This is my wife, my son, my daughter, my father, my mother. The word my. So Nija means Srimati Radharani and her associates in particular. That is the consciousness of Mahaprabhu when he speaks the second verse of Nija Sarva Shaktis. Of course, in a general way, there is Lakshmi, Narayana, and all their associates are also present in that Nija Sarva. But who is speaking? When I am saying this is my wife, then it is my wife, not somebody else's. And Mahaprabhu, as Krishna of Vrindavan, is saying this is my here in particular means, which is explained by the Goswamis, means the gopis of Vrindavan, the Swapaksha gopis, Manjaris, and Srimati Radharani are present in the word Hara. So that is Radharaman Dev. And now we will move on to a very wonderful personality, Srila Madhvendra Puri. Srila Madhvendra Puri, it is said that he is the first sprout of the desire tree, the Kalpa Vriksha of devotional service or Prema Bhakti. Prior to that, in the Gaudiya Vaishnava lineage or in the Brahma Madhva Sampradaya, mainly Krishna was worshipped through formal rituals and rites. That Prema actually really condensed and manifest through Srila Madhvendra Puri. Prior to that, it was not so condensed. It was not so thick. And Srila Madhvendra, and this is mentioned in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the reference that I'm giving here. In Madhva Leela, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela, chapter number 4. Srila Madhvendra Puri was known as Yati Madhvendra. Yati means one who doesn't ask for anything, not even for food. That is also called Ayachakritti. Ayachakritti is like a python. A python just simply stays in one place and he waits for its food. It doesn't go around. So that is also known as Ayachak. Yachak means to ask, and Ayachak means not to ask. So Yati means a very, very high level of renunciate. And that is why even today, if we go to Govardhan, that after Govind Kund comes Jatipura, where especially the followers of Sri Vallabhacharya, it's very prominent. It was named after Srila Madhvendra Puri, after Yati. And the pronunciation got a little bit messed up. Like the Bengalis, they say Vrindavan, and most of us we say Vrindavan. So B and V. So similarly, Jatipura. They call it Jatipura, but it was Yatipura because Srila Madhvendra Puri stayed in that area, especially near Govind Kund. And at Govind Kund, one day, Madhvendra Puri Bad was chanting the holy names. Even today, if we go there, we find his sitting place in Govind Kund, the sitting place of Madhva, very, very prominent place of pilgrimage for us Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Once you enter Govind Kund, you walk a little bit, and as you come towards the actual Govardhan in the inner path, when you make a right turn, there's a very old tree, and right underneath that tree is the sitting place of Srila Madhvendra Puri Bad. And Srila Madhvendra Puri Bad, he was chanting the holy names day and night. Uh, One day, while he was sitting there under that tree, one very, very, very beautiful boy came and says, Baba, here is some milk for you. In our village, nobody goes hungry. So he said, who sent you? Oh, those milkmaids there, they are, by the well. They saw you, you've been sitting there for a long time and you haven't, and so they just sent this milk for you. And then I will come back and pick up my vessel. Please relish this milk. Please take it. Nobody goes hungry in our village. So actually, that village is also known as Aniur in that section of Govardhan. So Madan Pawar just simply was mesmerized looking at the beauty of this boy. And then he said, Baba, I will come back. I'll pick up my vessel. I'll pick up my pot. And he relishes the milk and he cleans the pot, makes it nice and shiny with the Govardhan dust and water mixed in it. In India, even today, they wash pots, especially brass pots, with the dust, and they become very, very nice and shiny. And he waited till dusk, and he was waiting for that boy, and he never showed up. Then, at night when he went to sleep, that same boy appeared in his dream, and he says, Baba, I have been in this on the top of the Govardhan hill in these bushes for quite some time. Please take me out. Extract me. I request you. And then he said that, due to the attack by the Mughals, the pujaris, they buried me here in this spot. And Madhvendra Puri Bad saw this vision. Next morning, along with some Rajvasis, they went to that spot near Govind Kund, and they went up on the hill, and under those bushes which he had very clearly seen in his vision, lo and behold, which deities? Gopalnathji, Srinathji. He appeared right there. Actually, Srinathji, Gopalnathji was originally made by the great grandson of Krishna, Vajranath. But then over a period of time, many, many deities in Braj, even today, they're all originally, they were all ordered and sculpted and manifested originally to the great grandson of Krishna, Vajranath. And then over a period of time, they got lost. And that is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had sent Loknath Goswami, Bhugarbha Goswami, the sixth Goswami. Eche Gosai jar kore Eche Gosai jar kore Brajavas Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Korila Prakash. So these six Goswamis, they excavated the different places and they found the different deities that were originally made by Vajranath, the great grandson of Krishna. So then he established right on top of the hill a beautiful, simple stone altar and worshipped Gopalnathji very nicely. And they did perform Annakut. Kut means a hill, and Anna means many, many offerings. And that Annakut was performed. So many devotees came from different parts of Raj, from Mathura, and many, many places, and they offered this. Now, after Srinathji was established, a few days later, In his dream, again, he came and said that, you know what, I've been buried in this place, in this hot, it's so hot, I need something very cooling. And please get me some chandan, sandalwood, and rub it nicely and apply the paste on me, and that way I will have that cooling effect. Now, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, he mentions in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, speaking the glories of Madhavendra Puri, and who is he speaking to about this pastime, about the sandalwood? To Nityananda Prabhu. Personally, he mentions this to him. And he narrates this and he says that this is how my Param Gurudev and your Gurudev. By the way, Lord Nityananda was initiated by Madhavendra Puri. And he said that and asked him to go, and Mahaprabhu went to a long journey from Govardhan, Vrindavan area to Odisha, Jagannath Puri. Sri Prabhupada mentions in his purports that in Jagannath Puri, near that, the Malaya hills are there, and the best sandalwood is found there. So he made his journey in that old age, Madhavendra Puri. And along the way comes a very wonderful temple of Gopinath in a place called Remuna. And in Remuna, Gopinath, it is mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita that there is an offering made to Gopinath which is called an Amrit Keli. Amrit Keli is a type of condensed milk with rice or kheer. And it is so amazing that 12 pots are offered every day, and especially at night before the Lord goes to sleep, before Shayan Darshan. And then the prasadam is offered the next day to the devotees who come there, who visit the temple of Gopinath. And at that time, the desire came in the heart of Madhavendra Puri to take some kheer, uh, so that he could kind of figure out what the ingredients are and offer it to Gopal Nath Ji. So as he was thinking, but suddenly he thought, oh, I have this vow that I should never ask. I should never ask anything. So he did not, along with other devotees, like we have take Charnamrit, they take the kheer. He retracted himself and he simply, and at that time at night, that same night, when the pujari put to sleep Gopinath, put the kheer and then closed the doors. In the middle of the night, this pujari had a dream. And in his dream, Gopinath says, wake up, wake up. My devotee Madhavendra Puri has not eaten anything. And I have stolen some kheer for him. And I put this kheer pot behind me. He was shocked, took a bath, chanted some mantras, opened the door, and lo and behold, the kheer bowls were missing and they were behind Gopinath when he looked. And then in the middle of the night, he went around in Remuna at that time and says, Madhavendra Puri, Madhavendra Puri, who is Madhavendra Puri? And then finally he came across Madhavendra Puri sleeping under a tree. I am Madhavendra Puri. And he offered him prostrated obeisance. How fortunate you are. Gopinath stole kheer for you. Here it is, please accept it. And Madhavendra Puri immediately accepted that kheer. And after finishing that kheer in the pot was made of clay, he broke that pot. It is mentioned, Mahaprabhu himself is mentioning that. More small pieces. He tied it in his upper garment and kept it with him. And it is said that for the rest of his life, he took small, small pieces even of that clay pot. Uh, Today, even when we go to Radharaman Mandir, when you get the kheer and when you get that mawa, or what you call that in English, the condensed from where you make peda, the uh, the condensed milk that turns into a barfi type, it is also always served in clay pots. They do not serve it in anything else. And when you receive that prasadam, it is also in that. They're small, but they're very cute and interesting. That tradition continues from those ancient days. So, like that, he mentions, and then he takes that kheer, eats it, breaks the pot, ties up the pieces, and immediately leaves. And still, it's not early morning because he's thinking if everybody will know about this, then they will start worshipping me. And he didn't want any pratishtha. He didn't want anyone to give him that respect. That is indeed what amanina manadena kirtanya sadahari. When Mahaprabhu says that, hmm, the third verse of Chaitanya Shastastakam, hmm, what is that verse? Trinadapi sunichena taro iva seshnuna amanina manadena kirtanya sadahari. Only those persons, and this is an amazing lesson, that if we are, why we are not able to do kirtanya sada, why we cannot chant continuously. And chanting means good chanting. Prabhupada said how many rounds we must chant every day? Minimum 16 good rounds, not 16 rounds, 16 good rounds. So these good rounds, and continuously why we are not able to chant is because we are not humbler than a blade of grass. We are not tolerant like a tree. We are not amanina. We always want respect, and we do not want to give enough respect to all. These four things are lacking. And why is it lacking? Mahaprabhu gives the answer in the next verse. Because we are attracted to dhanam, wealth, janam, followers, sundarim kavita, praise. And that is the reason we are not being able to do Trinadapi Sunichena Taloivasa. And that is why we cannot chant the names of Krishna constantly and nicely. So it's so amazing. And that is why Mahaprabhu takes the place of a very simple personality and says, I cannot do that. Ihajani na anuraga, I have no taste. And I am attracted to all these janam, dhanam, kavita, sundarim. So because I cannot do that, finally he comes to the lotus feet of Krishna as like a devotee and prays. Ay nanda tanuja kim karo. Ay crying. Ay. Like ha ha. Narottam Das Thakur also in his bhajans he uses the word ha ha Prabhu Nityananda Premananda Sukhi. So that crying is necessary. We don't cry. Nitila Pravishta, His Holiness Gaur Govind Maharaj Ji used to say that we have to open a crying school. Unless and until our hearts melt with crying, that Krishna Prem is a very far-fetched thing. Perhaps we will get Vaikuntha, perhaps we will get Mathura Dwarka, but Golok or Raj is a very far-fetched thing unless we come to that platform of deep crying and deep love. So here's what we find, that he left, no pratishtha. And then he went on to this journey. He managed to get about 80 pounds. That's a lot of sandalwood, pure sandalwood. And also lots of, I think about 2 kilos of camphor, pure camphor. And even the king there, who was very conducive to sadhus, he made sure that no tax was charged, and he made that arrangement. And again, on his return journey, he stopped in Remuna, same place. From that time onwards, this Gopinath was known as Kheer-Chor Gopinath, one who stole the kheer. So he stopped at Kheer-Chor Gopinath, and at that time, at night when he slept, again Gopal came in his dreams. And he said that no need to come all the way to make this journey with heavy load of sandalwood and the camphor. You just offer it to Gopinath, to Kheer-Chor Gopinath, and I will receive it in Govardhan. So he, Shrila Madhvendra Puri, excuse me, offered there were 2 servants engaged day and night to rub along with camphor. Whenever we offer sandalwood paste, a little bit of camphor should be put inside. That gives a very, very amazing fragrance, and also an amazing, enhances the cooling effect. And that is why it is said by Mahaprabhu that Srila Madhvendra Puri Bad, taking that analogy, is that camphor in that sandalwood. Because he enhances Krishna Prema. Continuous rubbing of the camphor increases the aroma in the sandalwood. Mahaprabhu says this. And similarly, consideration of this verse. Which verse? There's an amazing verse that he used to recite, Shrila Madhvendra Puri. And actually, this verse was spoken by Srimati Radharani. This verse spoken by herself, and by her mercy only, it was manifest in the words of Sri Madhvendra Puri. And this verse was recited again and again by Madhvendra, especially in his last days. Ay Dina Dayadra Nath He Mathura Nath Kadavya Lokasya Hridayam Tat Aloka Kataram Daita Brahmyati Kim Karomi Aham. This is in Chaitanya Charitamrita. O my Lord, O my merciful Master, O Master of Mathura, when shall I see you again? The words Radharani uses is Master of Mathura. This is full sarcasm. In Raj Prem is full of sarcasm. They don't talk anything straightforward. And sometimes when they say Master of Mathura or King of Mathura, means, oh, you are a great man now, you have forgotten us, the Rajvasis. That's the inner meaning when she uses those words. And many, many bhajans, even in Raj Bhav, they use this Mathura Nath. They use these words in criticism, kataksh, to make him feel bad. Oh, I left you, all of you in Vrindavan, and now you're feeling like I am such a big king. And that is why Krishna, when in Kurukshetra during the solar eclipse, when they meet, the Rajvasis also come there to take a bath in the Ramrind Kunda. It is said that it is the most auspicious place to take a bath in the solar eclipse. And when Krishna, Dwarkadish, comes along with his entire entourage to Kurukshetra, when he sees Srimati Radharani, he falls down at her feet and he asks for forgiveness. That I am a culprit. I am a culprit. I left you all in Vrindavan and left you suffering. And then Srimati Radharani speaks similar note that, oh, you are the king of Mathura. Why are you apologizing to us peasants of Vrindavan? You are the Lord and Master. You can do as you please. And that is exactly what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in the mood of Srimati Radharani, speaks in the 8th verse of the Chaitanya Sistastakam. Yatha tatha va vidato lampato mat prananathasya eva namara. Yatha tatha va nath. You are the Nath. What are we? We are nothing. So that is sarcasm at the highest extent, to make Krishna feel that I'm really, what I did, leaving you all. But of course, there is a secret to it. We can speak about that when an opportunity arises, another, why he did and why he gave that separation. The essence is that the more separation he gives it to the most qualified, so that the love enhances. The more separation, the more love. And that is called love and separation, Vipralamba Bhav. Nama Gaur Kishoraya Shakshat Vairagya Murte Vipralambar Sambode Padam Bhujayate Nama. The pranam mantra of Gaur Kishodas Babaji. Vipralamba. So not Krishna doesn't give that kind of separation to everyone. It simply enhances the love for them. The union is even more sweeter when that happens. So Srimati Radharani actually spoke this verse. And then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recited this verse, and he immediately, sometimes when Mahaprabhu used to recite the same verse as his Param Gurudev, Srila Madhvendra Puri, he would fall to the ground and faint. So Madhvendra Puri is amazing. Some of his prominent disciples are Paramanand Puri and Pundrik Vidyanidhi. Pundrik Vidyanidhi was one of the foremost devotees at the time. And who is Pundrik Vidyanidhi? None other than King Vrishabhanu, the father of Srimati Radharani. And also Raghupati Upadhyay. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to hear verses from Raghupati Upadhyay. Please tell me, I want to hear something from you. So he was also a disciple. Sri Ramachandra Puri, who criticized Chaitanya Mahaprabhu many times, we find that, but he was also a disciple, and Lord Nityananda himself. So the word Puri comes at the end of these disciples, most of them. Puri, 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 Madhvendra Puri. It is because of they come in the particular sannyas order that is called Puri. That is why their names are at the end. I will take about 5 minutes more on because of Srinivas Acharya's appearance also. Sri Madhvendra Puri Pahat ki. Now, Sri Srinivas Acharya appeared to a personality whose name was Chaitanya Das. Now, it is said that Chaitanya Das, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had decided to take sannyas and he swam across the Ganga and he came to Katra, at that time a barber was called and he started cutting the beautiful hair locks of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And at that time, this devotee could not say anything further, crying and crying, seeing Mahaprabhu's hair, beautiful long hair being cut, and he was going to be shaved. He started just saying, Chaitanya, 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 oh Chaitanya. So from that on day onwards, he was known as Chaitanya Das. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually came in his dream and says, I want you to have a child and I want you to call him Srinivas. So Mahaprabhu directly ordered Chaitanya Das to have a child and name him Srinivas. Mahaprabhu came in his dream and he said that. Shrinivas Acharya actually had met even the consort of Mahaprabhu, Vishnu Priya Devi, and taken blessings. And at a very young age, he met her. And a visiting sannyasi told Chaitanya Das that I want your son. Again, another example at a very young age. So this sannyasi, he went with this sannyasi, Srinivas Acharya, and he came to then finally the Vrindavan Dham, and he learned that Rupa Goswami had disappeared, and he was so morose, heartbroken. But he went to Jiva Goswami, and he actually, along with Narottam Das Thakur, Shyamanand Pandit or Dukhi Krishna Das, and himself, he was personally tutored by Jiva Goswami. And Jiva Goswami gave him the title of Acharya. Narottam Das Thakur mentions in that very famous bhajan that most of us, everybody knows, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Karo More Toma Vina Ke Dayalu Jagata Samsare. At the end he says, Daya Karo Sri Acharya Prabhu Srinivas Ramachandra Sangamange Narottam Das. So, just one very important something to take home just from that line of Narottam Das Thakur is that Narottam Das Thakur was initiated by Loknath Goswami, different initiating guru. Shyamanand Pandit or Dukhi Krishnadas was initiated by Hriday Chaitanya. And Srinivas Acharya was initiated by Gopal Bhatta Goswami. Actually, he also composed the Chhada Goswami Astakam. Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghu Jugo Shri Jiva Gopalako Krishna Kirtana Ganara Tanaparo Premamritambo Nidhi Dhira Dhira Jana Priya Priya Karo Nirmatsaro Pujito. So it is Srinivas Acharya who composed this Shad Goswami Astakam, the Astakam of the six Goswamis. And he actually, when Narottam Das Thakur mentions that, please have mercy on me, that means so much affection for these Siksha God brothers. Nowadays we see, unfortunately, we have this prejudice in a very, very subtle way or even in a gross way that this is my God brother, my God sister. This is my Guru. We are all under the umbrella of Mahaprabhu. We are all under the umbrella of Srila Prabhupada. We are all God brothers and God sisters. Even if one is not initiated, but they come and offer obeisances to Srila Prabhupada, they come and show affection towards ISKCON, that we have to have that kind of affection like they are our own. Not that we will be prejudiced and we will show some kind of, that they are us and they are not. as we see from that bhajan. Shrinivas Acharya is remembering Ramchandra Kaviraj and Srinivas Acharya, who are their Siksha God brothers in one way, because they had so much bonding. And we are so fortunate that we have actually so many Siksha Gurus in ISKCON, especially the second generation. We should never make any differentiation. My Guru, that Guru, now. We are all under Mahaprabhu, we are all under his divine Vishnu. So this is the take home that I personally feel that I want to mention based on this line, last line of Narottam Das Thakur of this bhajan. So Srila Prabhupada ki, all three, both Acharyas and Radharaman Dev ki, Gaur Premanande. So of course it's 9 already. If somebody needs to go take breakfast, that's fine. And if there's any question, comments, or corrections, I would. Yeah, yes, please.
Just a quick comment that you talked about the various disciples of various gurus and the need for cooperation. In the ISKCON Disciples course, I believe referencing Rupa Goswami.
Repeat that so the devotees online can.
In the ISKCON Disciples course, I believe referenced by Rupa Goswami, one is said to remain confidential about 3 topics. One's Ishtadev, one's vows, and one's guru. One does not even say the name of one's guru.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of our first question is, who are you initiated by?
Yeah.
We're not supposed to say the name of the guru because the disciple does not want to embarrass the guru. That this person has initiated somebody like me. Therefore, I want to say it here.
Yes, very true. Very true. Very good point. Yeah, nowadays, Kali Yuga is just advancing, and we are not even satisfied. One of the things is we are not even supposed to show our chanting beads. That is why we put them in a bead bag. That's one more thing that, along with that, I may, with your permission, would like to mention. Yes, so that's a major problem. And one thing that I have always, and since Prabhupada disciples are present in front of me, I have been discussing this with many, and I'm putting this up in this open forum as well. Slowly and surely, time is taking its toll. Many Prabhupada disciples are disappearing. Agnidev Prabhu recently, Charu Prabhu, and so many. So, what is going to happen to our ISKCON? This question is for the second generation devotees like myself. If we have this prejudice in our heads, then we will never be able to cooperate with ourselves. If we do not have Prabhupada completely in the center, and if we say that, oh, we are the guru, we have this majority in whatever, if we are playing the GBC role, because eventually they will all become GBCs, and the major vote is because we are of one particular guru, then the agenda will be passed, and the rest of the agendas may not, which may be really required. So we have to really think about this. And what Prabhuji said that yes, we should not even, it's not important. We are under the umbrella of His Divine Grace, our Acharya, and He's the only Acharya we have. That's the most important thing. Just like there is only one emperor and many kings. There might be many kings, but there's only one emperor. And for us, it's His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. We keep Him in the center, we will always be successful. And if we have other agendas that may be inclined, either politically or whatever it may be, then then ISKCON will have. But one thing that somebody just told me, Krupamai Prabhu, I mentioned that to him. He says, Prabhupada said that there are 10,000 golden years. So that gives me solace, that Prabhupada will somehow or the other steer us and guide us within our hearts if we do go astray for the cause of ISKCON. Hare Krishna. Yes, somebody, yes, Prabhuji?
You mentioned a little while back that we need to be more humble and play depressed. Or somewhere, I think you specifically said more humble and play depressed. What is that process like practically from you?
I'm sorry, say that again. Last part?
Like, what is that process like practically? I just want to hear from you.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand the question. Can you rephrase?
Yeah, how do we be more humble and play depressed?
How to be humble? To be like.
Yeah, how do we have
Okay, got it now. Okay. Well, I'm the wrong person to ask. Maybe these two wonderful personalities can answer that. Kalagan Prabhu and Soma Prabhu.
We really need to think not less about ourselves, but about ourselves less. Service to others is the position, If we think we're big, we have big problems. If we're small, we have small problems. If we're abysmal, then we have abysmal problems.
Soma Prabhu.
Just think of what a blade of grass is. It's trampled all over, they're so common everywhere. Think of yourself like that. That's it.
And one more thing, if I, with your permission, I may add, good chanting. Good chanting will make us humble. Because Krishna within our hearts will reveal, he's revealing, but right now we cannot see it. Right now we can, Prahlad can see Krishna everywhere. Can we see Krishna everywhere? No, if we are honest, no. But because he's chanting continuously, kirtans Hari, he's able to see Krishna everywhere. And Krishna is guiding him. So he is reciprocating. So the good chanting is the most integral part. And of course, service to the Vaishnavas. Service to the Vaishnavas wins their hearts and wins a lot of goodwill. It just pour. Because once we serve somebody, nothing but goodness for us comes out of their hearts. So service and good chanting, that's what.
That's why I said it's a really good question. It's really important.
Thank you for asking this question, Prabhu. Yes.
Last thing.
Yeah, loudly, please.
Yes. In our Panchatattva Mahamantra, Hare Krishna.
Yes.
In our Panchatattva Mahamantra, we say like Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Shrivas Hari. The Shrivas Hari, Shrinivas Acharya. Say.
Sorry, Shrivas?
Shrivas Hari, Gaur Bhakta.
Yes.
The Shrivas Thakur and the Shrivas Thakur.
They're both are different personalities. Shrinivas Acharya was actually one of the associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Srinivas Acharya came later. Actually, he did not have darshan of Mahaprabhu. Personal darshan was not there. So Srinivas Acharya and Srinivas, they're two different personalities. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu, one last question. All glory to Sri Prabhupada.
Few questions. So first of all, how Madhvendra Puri went to Ramuna.
Srila Madhvendra.
Went to Ramuna, and then when he found out that Lord has himself stolen some cave for him, and then he left because he thought that he would become very famous and he didn't want to do that. But then he said that he came back with the children, he came back again to Ramuna and said that. So why was that when he left? Right? I mean, I just couldn't connect that. So
No, connection means, what happens is when something like a miraculous thing happens, then there's a huge crowd right away. Right? And then the order was of Srinathji, Gopalnathji, to go to Ramuna and offer it there because he was very old. Carrying 80 pounds of sandalwood is very cumbersome. Yeah. So he said, enough. Because Ramuna is also in Orissa, not very far from where he picked up the sandalwood. So that's why it is reciprocation. Like Sanatana Goswami, another example is when he was so old, he had taken a vow to take Govardhan Parikrama every day, 2 times a day, morning and evening. And he was so old, sometimes he was stumbling and falling down, and Krishna was completely, you can say, devastated seeing that of his pure devotee. So he said, stop this, no more. He said, but I've taken a vow to do Govardhan Parikrama every day. That's the problem, right? I'll solve it. So he took a big Govardhan Shila, he put his left foot on it and his flute, and there was a little calf also around with him, with Krishna, and there was a footprint. He says, you circumambulate this 4 times and you have already done Govardhan Parikrama. And we find that in the same place where Jiva Goswami stayed in Vrindavan, in Sevakunj, in Radha Damodar temple, that Shila is there. So that is why a lot of Gaudiya Vaishnavas, they do at least 4 times parikrama when they go to Radha Damodar temple. That way, they get the benefit of the Govardhan Shila. So it is just not that the love is there just one-sided. Krishna also feels the pain. Krishna felt so much pain for the Vrajvasis after he left. After some time, he sent Uddhav to give them to see how they are and send a message. It is not to teach Uddhav. That was, of course, it was to teach Uddhav what real prema is. It was to teach Uddhav because Uddhav was thinking that I am a great disciple of Brihaspati. I am a big scholar. And I will tell them, why are you lamenting? You are not this body. You are a spirit soul. You should not be lamenting. And I will speak Shastra to them. When I go to Vrindavan, all the Shastra was completely vanished when he saw the love that was there, because the reciprocation is just not that the devotees feel separation. Even Krishna feels separation from us if we are of that caliber. And that is why many devotees, they are in more than one rasa. Like Balaram is in all the 5 rasas. Krishna cannot live without him. Many Gaudiya Acharyas, there are more than one rasa. Some of them are in Sakhya rasa and they are simultaneously present as a gopi. Simultaneously, they are present. So because their participation, Krishna appreciates day and night. So the order was, that's enough. I want you to put this chandan on me in Remuna, and I will get it. That's why he went.
Thank you. And then one more, just,
Yeah.
you said that, in Ramana, they give that, here in a clay pot. So is there, because the other one also they give that,
That I don't know, Prabhuji. Yeah. But it is generally in those days where they didn't have paper. They all had is leaf, tree leaves, dona, pattal, and clay. Yeah, that's why. And it is for the general common people. They would not be afford silver and gold thalis and stuff like that. So simple living, high thinking. Hare Krishna.
and then you just said that verse, that, they will decide. Do you have that verse by any?
Yeah, in it is in Madhya Lila, chapter 4, verse 192 or 193. Somewhere there.
Thank you.
Very beautiful verse. Mahaprabhu was so affected by it. Every time he chanted, he would faint. Because there is such a deep meaning in that. It is Srimati Radharani speaking, the separation.
What?
192, I think. Check around the 190s.
You like
It says it's the very best verse, ceremony, jewel of verses.
Yes.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki.
Yeah.
Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya Acharya Guruvar ki. Gaur Premanande. Thank you very much. Srila Gurudev Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
I have a comment and a question. The question is, we're Rupanugas, and but you're speaking about Jiva Goswami and like that. And Jiva Goswami, he wrote more than anybody.
Hmm?
So how were Rupanugas? Because
Okay, good question. So I'll just repeat this just in case, because there might be some people online. So Prabhuji is asking that Jiva Goswami has written so many books, and we are following so many things that Jiva Goswami has taught us, like the Shat Sandarbhas, and so many wonderful books are there. But we are actually called Rupanugas. So how are we Rupanugas, right? Because Jiva Goswami is a Rupanuga. Following Rupa Goswami. Our Prabhupada is the Rupanuga because he's following the Acharyas in that line. That's why we are Rupanugas. Rupa means Rupa Goswami, Anuga means Anugaman. Anugaman means to follow in the footsteps. So we are following the footsteps, and like Mahaprabhu could have written so many scriptures himself, but he empowered them. Mahaprabhu could have done so many things, but he wanted all the credit to go to Srila Prabhupada, our Srila Prabhupada, for spreading the holy names all over the world and giving us so many books. So the Rupanuga means the parampara, as it is. And one more thing. Why Rupanuga? Because Rupa Goswami is Rupa Manjari on a very like a complex, if I may call it, or in a way. And Rupa Manjari is the most dear to Srimati Radharani amongst all the Manjaris. She is most dear. That's why Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, when he was leaving his body, he asked the song to be sung, Sri Rupa Manjari Pada, Shei Mora Sampada, Shei Mora Bhajana Pujana. And then once that song was completed, Sri Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur left his body. So, in the eternal Nitya Seva of Vrindavan, Rup Manjari takes the highest position, even higher than Lalita and Vishakha. So, ultimately, our goal is to become her follower if we enter into those pastimes. Because she is the one who is controlling the whole show as per Srimati Radharani's desire. So she will say, okay, now it's time. Come on, bring that arti plate. Come on, bring the flowers. Where are you? So she will tell all the gopis direct, the manjaris. So therefore, we are following, just like we are following like Prabhupada, right? So it's not different, but we have to get that realization. Why we are Rupanugas is because of this reason. Eternally, she is the most, she is known as the Prana Sakhi. Pran means, Pran is one of the life airs. There are 5 airs in our body. 4 can be missing, but if the Pran leaves, then we are finished. The body is finished. So she is one of the Pran Sakhis. Like as if she is breathing. Without her, she cannot live, Srimati Radharani. So she is directing everything in the pastimes. Nikunja yuno ratikeli siddhya yaya live rakti rapekshaniya tatrati dakshad ativallabhasya vande guru Sri Charna. So in the bowels of Vrindavan, in all the very, very confidential services, she directs everyone. Therefore, we are Rupanugas. That's a confidential meeting.
Jiva Goswami had, Rupan Sanatan had direct darshan of Mahaprabhu. So
Yes.
did Jiva Goswami?
No, Jiva Goswami, I don't recollect. Can you? Did Jiva Goswami have darshan of Mahaprabhu? Anybody? Open question.
I don't think so, but Jiva Goswami, that's a tricky question.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I don't know, Prabhu. I'll be very honest.
So my comment is that you were mentioning about shalagrams.
Yeah.
That some people, they purchase the shalagram. So here's a verse from Vishnu Dharmatara. One who puts a price on a shalagram shila sells a shalagram shila. Because sometimes people, they purchase deities like Gaurnitai, Radhakrishna, Jagannath Baladev, Subhadra, and shalagram. So one who puts a price on the shalagram shila sells a shalagram shila, gives his opinion on its value, or examines one with a view to estimate its sale value. All such people will live in hell until the time of the universal devastation.
Wow. Very powerful.
So you cannot purchase or sell.
Correct.
Just like the holy name.
Right.
Because sometimes people think, oh yeah, shalagrams.
Unfortunately, they do that.
You're talking about fake shalagrams, but also that's another thing. But the shalagram shila is because it's higher than
Very true.
Govardhan
Vishnu himself.
Right.
Yeah. How can you buy Vishnu?
Right.
Very true. Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah, you cannot buy Govardhan Shila. It has to be given to you by a senior authority. Otherwise, if you want to take, then you have to put, they say you have to put that same amount of weight of gold. So, yeah. Good points, Prabhuji. I learned something. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Jiva Goswami, no darshan, Prabhu.
I don't know, Prabhuji.
Yeah,
You found it. Okay, no darshan.
Yeah, no darshan.
So that's the answer. Yeah. Okay.
No darshan, but he had Rupa Sanatana teachings.
Teachings.
Through that, he got darshan.
He got darshan.
Oh, through the teachings.
Through the teachings. Good question, though. Why we are not Jivanugas, but we are Rupanugas. Hare Krishna. We are all Rupanugas because we are following Rupa Goswami. Yes, Prabhuji.
Interesting thing, Radharaman Puri was a kalpavriksha tree.
Yeah.
Vrindavan, but also in Madhurya Ras.
Yes. Yeah, I mentioned that in the beginning. Yeah. That he was a kalpavriksha. It is due to him that we find that rasa that came. Ishwar Puri, I forgot to mention Ishwar Puri. He was one of his disciples, and Ishwar Puri initiated Mahaprabhu. And that's how that prem flowed through Rupa Goswami's all the 6 Goswamis, and then it came in disciplic succession. 32nd in line is Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Our Rupanugas ki, Gaur Premanande.